What's up, MOGCubing? Welcome to 1-1 EOLR. Let's get into it. So for 1-1, we actually have 3 ways to EO. The first two are pretty similar. The first one is probably the one you know. You do a M prime, U prime, M prime. Well, also that could be either U. Like this. So we slice in the same direction, a one-way slice, and you want to make sure that you're bringing this bad edge up and through into so that it stays in the U layer. However, because 1-1 is an M2 away from 1-1, if we do an M2 and then an M prime, that's the same as if we just did an M. So we can also do a slice back setup to EO like this, where we bring it down into the bottom to any U move, and then bring it back up to the top with the bad edge. And then the third way is a pretty cool AUF trick that allows for some pretty good cases. You want to have it sideways and actually insert the bad edge into where the good edge is in the bottom layer, like that. And that'll also give you an arrow. One more thing to note is that if you stack the bad edges, you can actually do M prime UM triggers, and it will not affect EO. So if you wanted to reduce to like a better case, I don't think we end up using that actually, but it is useful for EOLR, I think, or EOLRB. As first case, we have misoriented, both. This is the only misoriented case. And for this one, we can do one of two setups to EO. We can either do the one-way slice, or we can do the slice back. The slice back is typically more ergonomic, but it's worth noting that you can do either. For this case, oriented, misoriented, adjacent, we're going to be flipping both edges with the slice, the one-way setup to arrow, like this. And so we'll flip one, move that one to the back, and then flip the other, so that we have a good arrow, like that. That's one way. There's actually an alternate AUF trick you can do, where if you have the, here, I'll just do a little Y2. If you have the good edge in the front, above the good edge slot, and then the LR edge is on the side, you will insert that LR edge into the bottom, and that'll also give you a good arrow. So this works from 2 AUFs. You can do that one from that AUF, and you can also do this one from this AUF. Moving on to our next case, oriented, misoriented, both. You'll notice, as I just did an M2, this is an M2 away from our first case. And unfortunately, we can't do the AUF trick, but the other solution is almost exactly the same. It's a slice back setup to EO where we flip both edges. So we'll flip this one up into the U layer, do a U move, and then flip this one back. Yep, moving on. For this case, oriented, misoriented, opposite, we're going to be doing a slice back setup to a mediocre arrow. So what we want to do is we just want to make sure that both of these stay in the U layer, and that'll give us the mediocre arrow. The number 3 insert and the number 1 slice, the one-way, do not give us good arrows. So we just have to do the mediocre arrow, and that's that. Moving on to oriented, misoriented D, which is an M2 away, as you just saw. This has the exact same concept behind it. We're going to be slicing in the same direction to give us a mediocre arrow on top. So basically, an M2 and then a slice back is the same as just doing the one way, except for I didn't have it on the bottom. There's the one way, and that's the mediocre arrow. For this next case, we have oriented, misoriented, and this is what I call the oriented over misoriented. So we have an oriented edge in the U layer and a misoriented edge in the D layer, but it's not the same as the oriented, misoriented both that I covered, because in this case, they're literally stacked in the M slice when AUF'd, so that the bad edges are diagonal on the M slice. And so this case is very efficient. There's only one option here, and that is to insert the edge into do the insert setup, and that will give you a 1 move arrow. So that's good to know. An M2 away will give us the misoriented over oriented case. Unfortunately, for this case, you can't do the insert. That will give you a good arrow, and that is an option. I misspoke. That is an option, and that will give you good arrow. However, from this AUF, if they're already like this, you can just do the slice back setup to arrow, and that will also give you a good arrow. So those are your, you can do this one from 3 AUFs. You can do it from here, and from here. For this next case, we have oriented, adjacent. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be flipping both edges with a slice back setup to EO, like so. So we will flip this one, and then we'll bring this one to where it was, and then slice that back. You may have seen this in previous episodes because it's a efficient case that can be reduced to for a lot of other cases. So, yep, that's that one. Moving on to an M2 away, oriented, both. In this case, we're going to be doing the exact same thing, where we are going to, instead of doing a slice back, we're going to do a one-way, where we bring this one up, and then bring this one here, and bring it down. You also probably saw this in a previous episode, where I talked about like which cases to reduce to. So here we're just going to be, just make sure you flip both edges, and bring this one on the side all the way into the D layer, and that will give you a 1 move arrow from that case. For this next case, we have a oriented, opposite, and they're on the top layer, they're opposite. For this one, super straightforward. We just do the insert setup to EO, and that will give us a good arrow. So this works from 2 angles, which is pretty, oh, I didn't have it set up right. Works from 2 angles, which is pretty great. Here's our next case, where we have oriented, and I call this oriented M because they're both on the M slice. And for this one, we also are going to be doing an insert, and this will be giving us mediocre, and that's the best we can do for this case. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Next time, we're going to be covering 6 flip, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell for that. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to leave a like, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Godspeed.